project for tonight and probably for the next couple days is rebuilding brakes. So we're going to refurbish the brake calipers and rebuild them with new pistons and seals. Probably paint them because that's the satisfying part. So here's what we're looking at. These are turbo brakes and 94 and up on all MR2s, I think. Either way, we've got the 4-piston for the front, the 2-piston for the rear, and this is what they look like right now, kind of crusty, and we will start by cleaning them up. I like to have video or pictures of the orientation of the brake pads. I seem to always forget how the little clips and pads fit back in, so it's easier to just have something to reference. Check these out. It's only taken me probably, let's see, this is my 4th set of brakes that I'll have rebuilt, and it's taken me this long to find this product. I am so pleased with how this turned out. This is the product I used. I'm sure there are other options in a 5-gallon bucket. I only got 2 gallons. If I were to do it again, I would just go ahead and get 3 or 4. But I dropped all these brake components down in the solution. Left it in there probably 3 or 4 days, as a matter of fact, and pulled them out, pressure washed them, and then dried them immediately. And look at that. Man, I wish I would have found this product sooner. So happy with that. And now we're on to the rebuild. Here we go with the brake rebuilds. Tonight I'm working on the rears, and here are the tools and the different things needed. Definitely a ratchet to use with the brake tool and with a 12 mil. Snap ring, pliers, flathead, a punch, a pick, a chopstick, brake parts cleaner, and this is actually a Toyota tool that is necessary for this job. That's the part number there. And this is the one we're going to be working on. All right, step 1 is to get this as far out as possible. After that comes out a decent amount, kind of use the wooden dowel here, chopstick, to get the seal to clear over the piston so it doesn't hold it in. There we go. And oil will come out. That's why I have a bucket down here. And that is, by the way, also why I don't go ahead and paint it beforehand. I'm always tempted to paint it before I start the process because I can just paint over all the seals and everything because they're coming out anyway. But there's always oil, and then there's solvents and everything that will probably start eating away at the paint job. So that's why I leave the paint job to the very end. The next step is to locate the snap ring that's underneath the boot, and generally find one of the ends under here. Oh, there it is. Let's work it out. Yep, I probably did not even need to rebuild these. They're in very nice shape. But anyway, so the next step is to grab this tool, thread it on, and it just kind of bottoms out, but I have to depress this. Let's see, yeah, depress this, and then I think you get a little bit more. Nope, that's pretty much it. So it's bottomed out. And now there's a C-clip down in there, and everything's kind of slick, but all right, that didn't come out too cleanly, but comes out. And these are always directional, of course, so the flat spot, not the beveled part, not the smoothed over edge, but the square edge is going to be towards the outside, the edge that actually catches. So now that that's out, pull the tool back out. Next comes this little hat with the spring inside. And then this threaded shaft piece just pops out. It does have a seal. Oh man, that grease is clean in there. These brakes are really in good shape, but that's the order there of the pieces. There is a little push shaft. There's a little push pin that actuates the brake for the e-brake. And now, oh, one thing I did forget to do, I should have disengaged this spring beforehand, but it's pretty easy to do. Just pry it. So that comes off. And now this spins freely and will come out. Next, we need to remove this seal, and there's a little tab right here. It's not very exposed, but that's what kind of hit it with the punch here. Just enough to get a flathead in it. And that comes out. So now we're pretty much completely disassembled. This part is easy. Just pull the boot back. Pull that out. And then kind of just spin and collapse the boot. Push it through. And this one, I would recommend, if it's in good shape, which this one is, to just leave these two. Because this part's really hard to press back in. And we may end up doing it or we may not, but this is in such good shape, I think I'm just gonna clean it out inside and call it a day. So, oh, there is another seal here, which I forgot to take out. Now we're ready to clean it out. It might be necessary, if these are completely rusted through on the inside, to, at this point, let the caliper soak in solvent to break all the rust free in here and restore smoothness in these needle bearings here. This one's clean enough that all I'm doing is kind of taking any residue off from just either the seals decomposing or the grease, the assembly grease hardening. And started without gloves, so I'm going to finish without gloves. Let's embrace the mess for a while. I like to use this kind of white Brillo pad. It's slightly abrasive, so it kind of cleans, kind of polishes at the same time. One kind of unfortunate thing about these kits is that the new pistons don't have the threaded insert part for that threaded shaft for the e-brake. So we have to transfer this to this, but that means grinding off, cutting off half of this. So that's what we're gonna do next. I really didn't cut it deep enough. I have to relieve those little tabs so that plate lifts out. So all right, so here's the little plate. R for rear, I guess, goes on the outside. And here are the internals. Don't really even have to polish these up. Just clean them, re-grease them. Actually, just clean them and put them in the new one. There's that. All right, it's slight change of plans here. I have decided to go ahead and paint them before I put the new seals in. So I put the old seals back in, all of these parts, and I'm just gonna paint over them and see how it goes. It's an experiment for sure. All right, so these turned out great, I think. I ended up using, and this is an experiment because I haven't used this paint yet on car parts, but it's super high heat for grills, fire pits, and more, which I take it to mean they meant brake calipers. So we'll see about that. I also, after I cleaned them, I did not use primer. I went straight with this because it says premium rust inhibitor, and I figured I would want those properties in direct contact with the metal. So anyway, it's an experiment, we'll see, but if it can withstand fire in a fire pit, I figure it's gonna be pretty good on these calipers. And this paint sprays, it covers nicely, and it dries quickly. I really like using it. Anyway, here we go. Gonna take all these seals out and actually proceed with the rebuild. Here we go. So the first step is putting the piston back together. It came out with the R facing out, but I'm gonna put it in the opposite way so that the flattest edge is facing out. So locate the little spring into the hole in the bottom of it. Okay, so one thing that was a little disappointing, this kit did not come with the necessary clip to hold that in. So I bought a kit from Harbor Freight, and the perfect size happens to be the 1 1/4 inch. Again, the square edge is facing up, the rounded edge is facing down. Definitely double check that it's in there and snapped and seated. There are two types of grease that come with the kit. One type is basically for assembly, and it can interact with DOT fluid without a problem. So that's the red stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and just, well, that's way too much. I'm gonna set that aside. This seal gets prepped as well on all 4 sides. That's all set. Set that over there. Next, we're gonna prep the caliper itself, the little roller bearings in here, and with silicone. Now that I'm doing the silicone, I'm gonna go ahead and put a little on this shaft here. And sort of fill that cavity a little bit. Here's the little push rod. Make sure that's covered. And finally, a little in there as well. The seal that goes on here, I put the red on. Okay, so that's ready. Now what we're gonna do, these roller bearings don't go the whole way around. There is an opening into the bore, so we need to leave that part open. First, we're going to install this seal, which also will get some silicone in it. I like to put a little on the outside as well, just to aid in installation. To drive this in, I've been using a 26 mil socket. Now that that's in, we need to slide this in, making sure that the opening here is lined up with the opening inside the bore. Yeah. That gets dropped down right in the middle. And then this one. Great, that works. The next part is a little tricky, and it's this piece. These lobes fit in indentations down inside, and for it to fit right at that orientation, I have to rotate the shaft just a little bit. There we go. All right, so that's seated down there. The little lobes are in the little holes. Next is this piece. I don't think it's directional. Next is the spring, this little top hat piece, and next is the special tool. It threads on. Every now and then double check, make sure that the little lobes are still in the little indentations. This will just bottom out and not go any further. Okay. Now the snap ring, again, the square edge facing out and the rounded edge facing in. This part is a little tricky, and it definitely helps to have a longer set of snap ring tool or pliers, but may get lucky. But I find I have to push it with a a screwdriver to hold it in, and then I can work it the whole way around. So let's see. So that may take a couple tries of using the snap ring tool and a decent sized flathead to kind of get it seated. And even after it's seated, it's good to double check with the flathead tool just to make sure it's snapped in, like double, triple check that it's snapped in all the way. It tends to seat a couple times. Now would be a good time to go ahead and install this spring right here. It just fits on, and with a thumb over it to hold it. Pretty straightforward to get that on there, okay? And now, well, let's take the tool out. Double check. Oh, yeah. Nice. Okay. I did prep this earlier, but I noticed I did something wrong. So I'm going to pull this out. Forgot to add this roller washer. Again, locate the hole for the spring. The roller washer on in this orientation. The plate. Snap ring. Square edge facing out, the round edge facing in. Okay. Great. We previously conditioned this, but I'm going to put a little bit more. Make sure it's not rolled. A little bit of layer of sweet. This seal will get a little grease on the outer edge so that it slides in easily. And the order here, and making sure that this orientation is correct, is to slide this on. Once the ring is seated, and of course, just work this in until it catches the threads. Great. Works. This one will get the silicone. Little on that side. Little on that side. There we go. Fantastic. Now, onto the back, the rears. So, for the next step, have to be very careful, but we're gonna pull the pistons out of the front brakes, the two pistons. 2x4 and some cardboard and some compressed air. where we need to be careful. The bleed port is kind of tight, and we just incrementally give it a little bit of air pressure and watch fingers from the backside. Then it's time to peel the seal back off of them, the rubber boot. All right, they may need to come out a little bit more. I'll take the cardboard out. Again, watch fingers from the backside. And if we're lucky, they'll come out together. I'm not sure that was the best course of action. I think next time I'll just clean them completely and then put the old seals back on like I did on the fronts and paint them that way. All right, got the little boots peeled back. So now I'm gonna finish. This one's coming out further than that one. So I'm gonna wedge a little cardboard on this side. Again, with hopes that they'll come out simultaneously. I may cover this just for the pop, but just have to pull the yellow one out with a crescent wrench or something. I mean, with a wrench. There we go. There it goes. And these. All right, I'll just clean that out and then we'll put them back together. Sweet. Putting these brackets on is pretty straightforward. It's a matter of little silicone. And the fronts, same thing. All right, that was the brake rebuild video, and clearly there are a lot of steps to accomplishing this job, but totally worth doing. These calipers are hard to find, or maybe impossible to find, and rebuilding them really makes them like new. So worthwhile step to do on all of these cars. If I were to do it over, I would take them completely apart first, then soak them for a couple days in the rust evaporust product, then put the old seals back in, paint them, and then start the reassembly process. So hopefully that helps someone who wants to tackle the project as well and kind of freshen up the brakes on the MR2. So thanks for watching.